Shubhodayam. Today is the second day of our course, Sanatana Dharma, and today's topic is Introduction to Vedas. So it is the speaker is Dr. Ravi Prakash Arya Sahab. We will start with Vande Mataram by Challa Chittibabu Garu. I request Challa Chittibabu Garu to recite Vande Mataram, and I request all of you to stand up, and since you are on mute, you can please sing Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujala Sufala Malaya Jasitala Sasya Syamala Mataram, Vande Mataram, Suprajyosna Pulakitaya Mini Pullakusumita Drumadala Sobhini Suhasini Sumadhura Bhashini Sukhadam Varadam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram. Namaskar.
Namaste. Lalita ji, can you do Prarthana, please?
I think she has not come. I am just.
Okay. Sorry for the delay. I will start with the Prarthana. We'll have a silence for a minute. After that, I will do Prarthana. Oh. Bharadaram Vishnu Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavathanam Dhyaye Sarva Vighnopashantaye Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Okay, let us request Lalita ji to introduce the speaker.
Yeah. Yes, Sarvebhya Namaskaraha. I salute all our guest speaker for the day, and I would like to introduce him to our course students and all of us. He is now we have Shri Professor Ravi Prakash Arya ji. who is from the state of Haryana. One second. I will just, there was a mild confusion. I'll just
Okay, I think I will introduce him. Professor Ravi Prakash Arya ji is a chair professor of Maharshi Dayananda Saraswati Chair, UGC, in Maharshi Dayananda University, India. He is a world-renowned Vedic scholar, philologist, historian, and a philosopher. He is a prolific speaker and a writer. He is a widely traveled scholar who has delivered more than 350 popular and academic talks on various topics of Vedas, Indian history, linguistics, philosophy, culture, and scientific Indian heritage in various countries of the world. He is doing pioneer work for preserving and propagating the universal and scientific Vedic heritage of India under the auspices of Indian Foundation of Vedic Science. He has, to his credit, 75 research papers and 70 books running into 84 volumes on the various aspects of Vedas, Vedic sciences, Vedic exegesis, Vedic philology, Vedic philosophy, religion, Indian history and culture. He is the chief editor of a quarterly research journal, Vedic Science, dealing with the scientific interpretation of Vedas and allied literature and ancient Indian traditions. This journal is acclaimed as an authoritative document on the Vedic sciences. He is also the editor of annual World Vedic Calendar. He has convened several national and international conferences, seminars, workshops on Vedic sciences, Ayurveda, yoga, spirituality, and Indian knowledge system. He is a recipient of many awards at the national and international levels. He has also served the Higher Education Department of Haryana as the principal of various degrees of college for 10 years. He has many things to his credit, more to follow, but due to time constraints, so we will request Arya ji to start to deliver his webinar on introduction to Vedas to all of us. We welcome him and request him to start his webinar.
Thank you, Colonel Babuji, Professor CSR Prabhuji, Lalita ji, and other participants. I am happy that I have been associated with this Brahma Yajna, and I think this is the second Satra of this Brahma Yajna or the Saraswati Yajna that has been started by the efforts of Colonel Babuji, Professor CSR Prabhu, and others. So I could also get some chance to offer my oblations into this Brahma Yajna. As we all know, Vedas, they are the ancient most books of humanity on the globe. And Vedas are also known as Brahma. Similarly, Vedas are also known as the source of dharma. Manu says, Vedo Akhilo Dharma Moolam. And this course also belongs to Sanatana Dharma. So it is very important to know about dharma itself in Vedic technical terms, in Indian philosophical technical terms. Dharma is not a religion. Dharma is not some communal idea. It's not some sect, but dharma has a different connotation so far as the Vedas and Vedic philosophy is concerned. The first definition, thus some symptoms of dharma, lakshana of dharma, were given by Manu himself, the first lawgiver of mankind. And he says, Dhriti, Kshama, Damo, Asteyam, Shaucham, Indriya Nigraha, Dhira Vidya, Satyam, Akrodho, Dashkam, Dharma Lakshanam. He says that these 10 things, Dhriti, Kshama, Dama, Asteya, Shauch, Indriya Nigraha, Vidya, means all moral, ethical values, the knowledge system, the knowledge, the vidya, all these dharmas, the duties, they are called dharma. So if we translate these Vedic technical terms or the Indian philosophical technical terms, they cannot be translated into other languages. So because no technical term should be translated, but now the trend is going on that we are translating all technical terms and we translate dharma as a religion. So the very meaning, the very essence of dharma is lost. So all moral, ethical values and whatever is to be known by knowledge, that is dharma. The duties of human beings towards their family, towards their society, towards nation, and towards this atmosphere. So that is also known dharma. Dharma is the very essence of a thing. And if that is taken out, the existence of the thing becomes endangered, just like the heat is the dharma of fire. And if heat is taken out of fire, it is no more fire. Similarly, the moral, ethical values, the human values are the dharma of a human being. And if these values are taken out of the human being, he is as better as animal being. So dharma is the very essence, and we cannot compare dharma with the modern day religion. Similarly, Ved is not a religious book in the present sense of term, just like Quran is the religious book of Islam, or this Bible is the religious book of Christianity. Similarly, Ved is not the religious book of Hindus. And Veda is the dharma book of dharma, no doubt, but it is not the religious book, and a book of dharma contains all scientific values. It is a book of all true sciences, Akhilo Dharma Moolam. It's a book of science, it's a book of knowledge, what Yaska says. Yaska, one of the ancient most Vedic scholar, he just, Manu says it. And similarly, Yask also says, Sakshata Krita Dharmanaha Rishayo Babhu. There were born seers in the beginning of the creation who could visualize this dharma. And te sakshata krita dharma upadeshena mantrana sampradhu. And they passed on this knowledge, these mantras, to those seers who could not realize that dharma. So that dharma has been equated with the Veda itself. Similarly, in Vaisheshika Darshan, also the Kanad, Maharshi Kanada, he defines dharma. And he says, Yato abhyudayaha nishraya siddhi sadharma. All those properties of objects, entities, padarthas, all those properties of padarthas, by the knowledge of them, one can alleviate his life, the mundane life, this practical life in human life. Because if we know the properties of the padarthas or entities in the world, by utilizing them, we can bring prosperity, we can bring comfort for us. And another sentence he says, Yato Abhyudaya and Nishraya Siddhi. And after that, when we enjoy all this material world life, then a seer will realize that these material things are nothing, and he becomes introvert. He starts seeing inside and he realizes the self. So this dharma, this knowledge of the thing, is the cause both for social progress, prosperity, and that paramarthika, moksha. So similarly, in Mimamsa Darshan also, Mimamsakara, he defines dharma and he says, Chodana Lakshano Varathu Dharmaha. Here, the Chodana means Veda, because the Veda was received by seers with the inspiration of God, so that is known as Chodana. And he says, Chodana Lakshano Varathu Dharmaha, the figurative meaning, the allegorical meaning of the Vedas is dharma. So means the subject matter of Vedas is the dharma itself. So that this Veda is the book of dharma, is not the book of religion. And similarly, when we think about the word Veda itself, we find that this Veda word is formed of 4 types of roots. One is vid, jnane, vid to know. Another is vidlari labhe, means with to attain. And third one is vid sattayam, with to exist. And the fourth one is vid vicharane, with to think. In fact, all these 4 meanings, they are very much suitable to the Veda itself. With jnane, with to know. So Ved is the book of knowledge. Vidlari labhe, or with to attain. This Vedic knowledge was attained by seers in their samadhi. And with sattaya means with to exist. This knowledge pertains to this existing universe itself. It's not some universe that we have not seen, but this existing universe, it addresses the problem of this existing universe. And with vicharane, because the mantras, when Yask etymologizes the word mantra, he says mantraha mananat. So they are the subject matter of the thought process. So Veda vicharane, this Veda cannot be heard or written or learned in a very simple way, but only the process, it can be gained. This knowledge can be gained by pondering over, by meditation, through yoga. So all these 4 roots are very much applicable to the word Veda. And now, after defining the Veda and the Dharma, because these 2 things are important to understand Veda. Not only these 2 things, but there are so many technical terms associated with this system of knowledge, the Vedic system, which are most essential to know the actual or factual meaning of the Vedas. So the first 2 things I have defined, dharma and the Veda. Now, the subject matter of the Veda, as I told, this Veda pertains to the knowledge of the existing universe. If we study Bhagavad Gita, we find a shloka in Bhagavad Gita. There, Sri Krishna says Arjuna, Triguna Vishayo Vedaha. Naistrai gunno bhava Arjuna. He says to Arjuna that these Vedas deal with the Trigunatmaka Srishti, deal with the creation formed of three gunas. These three gunas are Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So the Vedas, they deal with the creation formed out of the three gunas of a Prakriti in its Vishamavastha. And he further says, you will have to rise about this Prakriti, these three gunas, because only that state of liberation where you are not going to be affected by the death or by the due to the loss of your dear and near ones, that state is a state of Jivan Mukta or Videha Mukta Yogi. So that state can be attained if you rise about these three gunas. So Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita clearly points out that the subject matter of Veda is this creation itself, and no doubt this creation involves the spiritual aspect also, adhyatmic aspect also, adidaivic, astronomical or astrophysical aspect also, as well as adibhautik aspect, this laukic aspect also. These are involved when we talk about or when we just mention the word creation. Now the question is, this knowledge, how this knowledge was attained by the seers. In the beginning of creation itself, as we know, and one more thing is associated with the Veda is Vedaha apaurushaya. This knowledge is apaurushaya. This knowledge does not belong to any scientist or a human being. This knowledge belongs to the Brahman himself, the Paramatma himself, or the God himself. How is it the knowledge of Brahman? You know, I give a simple example. Suppose if a potter is there and he makes a pot. So the pot is the creation of the potter, and the knowledge of that pot will be the knowledge of that potter. Similarly, if there is a engineer, mechanical engineer, and he develops some machine, so that engineer will be the author of that machine, will be the creator of that machine, and the knowledge of the machine will be assigned, the authorship of that knowledge of that machine will be assigned to that engineer. Similarly, this creation is the creation of God. The God or Brahman is the author of this creation. So the knowledge of the creation, it will be assigned to the God himself. And in our philosophical tradition, Vedic philosophical tradition, knowledge is known as a dharma, as I told, and dharma belongs to its dharmi. If quality is there, guna is there, so that guna will belong to the guna itself. So that dharma, that knowledge system, because he is all knowledge, this knowledge is dharma, and this knowledge dharma will belong to the dharmi. So the creator of the knowledge is God himself. God is dharmi, the Brahma is dharmi, and the knowledge is dharma. That way also, the knowledge of the creation belongs to the God, because the authorship of creation is by God, and no other scientist or no other yogi in this world, he can create the universe. That is why, because Veda is the knowledge of creation. So because it is the knowledge of creation, so its authorship will go to the God himself and nobody claim it. So that is why Vedas are called apaurushaya. And similarly, how this knowledge was created? When a pot is created or a machine is created by the engineer, Whenever it is created, its knowledge comes into being in the universe the very moment. Similarly, when this creation was created by God, the knowledge of the creation also came to exist at the very moment. And now the question is, who is able to understand that knowledge? Who is able to visualize that knowledge? Suppose one potter, one engineer, he creates something, and another engineer with similar aptitude and knowledge, he may be able to imbibe it, what he has done. So the seers in the beginning, who were born in the beginning, they were all devas, they were all seers who were in moksha in the previous life. So as per Indian knowledge system, the knowledge never evolves, it devolves. It is at the climax in the beginning because it has been directly delivered by the expert, then it goes on degenerating. You know, today also you find the Vedic mantras. So exalted mantras are there, the swara system, so many things. You can't write even a single mantra today. No doubt, Tulsidas can write Tulsi Ramayana, but no scholar today till date dared to write a mantra as similar system as the mantra is there. So now, when after mantra we find the other literature, we find Sanskrit shlokas, even shlokas by Acharya Shankar and so many other Kannada scholars, seers, they could create aphorisms. Panini also could create aphorisms, but no seer himself create the Vedic mantra. So this proves that in the beginning, whatever the knowledge was handed over to us, it was by some seers, and that those seers visualized this knowledge of creation in the creation itself, and they handed over it to the future generations, just as the Yaska narrates this history. Sakshat krita dharmanaha rishayo babhu. Because dharma, they realized that dharma, and that dharma belongs to the dharmi, to the Brahman himself, and they pass it on to the future generation. So this is how this knowledge in the beginning it was imbibed. But how can the knowledge can be visualized? This thing has been clearly mentioned in Yoga Darshan itself, because Yoga Darshan it provides us a methodology to elevate oneself, to disembody oneself, or to attain moksha. Just like Sankhya Darshan talks about the embodiment of a human being, embodiment of the soul, its counterpart, that Yoga Darshan, it talks about the disembodiment, how to come out of this body, how to attain moksha. And during that process, at one place, Patanjali says, Nirvichar Vaisharadya Adhyatma Prasadaha. When a yogi attains perfection in Nirvichar Samadhi. What is Nirvichar Samadhi? A state of mind in which a yogi can meditate even without the contents. And in that state of mind, only the sattva predominates, and all thoughts are cleared out. So at that state of mind, Patanjali further says, Ritambhara tatra prajyaha. In that state of mind, a yogi attains Ritambhara prajyaha. Rita means the laws of creation. Prajya means buddhi. He attains such a buddhi where he imbibes all, understands all the laws of creation, and in that state of Ritambhara Prajyaha, the seers in the beginning, they imbibe the knowledge of the Veda. You know, even after understanding, hearing this knowledge or seeing this knowledge, it cannot be understood by so many people. That is why in medieval times, there was a tradition, and the scholars started saying Nirarthakaha mantraha. This has been stated, this has been quoted by Yask himself, and they started saying that these mantras are nirarthak, they are meaningless. Why they said it? In its answer has been given in the Rig Veda itself. One of the Rig Vedic mantras says, Utatvaha Pashan Dadarsha Vacham Utatvaha Shranumannakshanotyenam Utu Utvasmai Tanvam Visasre Jayev Patye Ushati Suvasaha. He says, there are some people who cannot see this Veda or this creation by seeing it. On the other hand, there are some other persons who cannot hear. Even the vibrations of the Veda are there in the cosmos, but they cannot hear these vibrations of the Veda. And only a yogi, the Veda unfolds itself to a yogi, just like the wife unfolds herself to the husband. So he wants to say the Ved is known as the Vak. What is Vak? Ved is the Vak of a Brahman. Vak here means the information of creation that is existing in Brahman. Just like the seed is there, and in the seed, the information of tree is there. When we are going to sow the seed and give its proper climate for its growth, then the same tree will grow out of that seed. Similarly, Ved is the Vak of Brahman. Ved is the information of the creation in Brahman, and when he do sankalpa, or when he thinks of creating universe, the same universe will be created from that Vak. So in a way we can say that Veda is a speech, and this creation is the expression of that speech. On the other hand, we can say the creation is there, and the creation's Vak is Veda. So these are interrelated. And one more thing, when this creation takes place, we know there are 4 Vedas. There is a Yajur Veda, there is a Shama Veda, there is a Rig Veda, Atharva Veda. So how this Vak was classified into 1 Veda, into 3 Vedas, into 4 Vedas, because the tradition says Eko Veda. The knowledge is one, and further the tradition says Trayo Veda, and it talks about Trayi Vidya. So what are those 3 Vedas and 4 Sanghitas we have? Just to understand this, we will have to understand the 3 things. Number 1, Veda. Number 2, Yajna. And number 3, Itihas and Purana. Veda is the knowledge of creation, and Yajna is the process of creation, and Itihas and Purana is the history of creation. Presently, the definition of Itihas and Purana has changed to some extent, but in early definitions of Itihas and Purana that were given by the scholar, it was Sargasya, Pratisargasya, Vansho, Manvantarani cha, Vanshanucharitam chaiva Purana Panchalakshanam. Means creation, decreation, the genealogies of these constellations. Their Vansha or Vanshanuchari doesn't belong to the historical people, but the genealogies of the constellations, the stars, heavenly bodies, and Manvantra, the time reckoning system. It was the subject matter of Puranas, and that is why the scholars used to say Itihas Purana Bhyam Vedam Samupa Branghait. Means one can understand or elucidate Vedas with the help of the Itihas and Purana. Just like when a teacher, he teaches in the class or some scientific knowledge system he deals with, he gives some examples. Similarly, when the Acharya teaches Veda to the students in the Gurukul, so because Veda is the knowledge of creation, so its examples he used to give from Puranas. With the help of Itihas and Purana, the history of creation, he used to elucidate and explain this knowledge. So Yajna, Veda, Yajna and Itihas and Purana. And our entire Vedic tradition says that everything developed in this country because of the Yajna itself. And Yajjat sarvam prasiddhati. Yajjat sarvam prasiddhati. All these Vedas and everything, they become prasiddha because from that Yajna itself. And there is a mantra, Tasmat Yajjat sarvahutaha richah samani jajjire Tasmat yajus tasmat ajayataha Chandansi jajjire. He says that from this Yajna, these Richas originated, this Yajus mantras originated, Shama mantras originated, and the Atharva Veda originated. So what is this Yajna? Because of which the development of Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Shama Veda system took place. So that Yajna was nothing but the process of creation. As I told, the Veda is the knowledge of creation, and it is based upon the creation itself. The process of creation, when the creation took place, then only these three Vedas came into being. And how this process of creation took place in Vedic system, that is most important to understand. Because further the seer says, Agnir Rigvedaha, Vayur Yajur Vedaha, Suryat Shama Vedaha. So this Agni, Manu also says, Agni Vayu Ravibhyas Trayam Brahma Sanatanam. He says that this Agni, Vayu and Ravi, these are the three Sanatana Brahmas, eternal Brahma. And Dudoha Yajna Siddhyaratham Rig Yaju Shama Lakshanam. For the Siddhi of Yajna, for the success of Yajna, these three were milked out from that Yajna. Dudoha Yajna Siddhyaratham Rig Yaju Shama Lakshanam. Rig, Yaju and Sham, named these mantras, they were driven out by this Yajna. And from Agni, Vayu and Aditya. These three things are there, and based upon these three things, this Rig, Richas, Yajushas and Savans, they were carved out, they were formed. So what is this Agni? What is this Vayu? And what is this Aditya? We have to understand it. And just to understand them, we will have to understand the Vedic system of creation. Vedas talks about three-tier system of creation, three-tier system we can say. And that three-tier system, it includes Bhu, Bhumi, Dyulok and Antariksha Loka. Dyava, Prithvi, Antariksha. This is the three-tier system of creation. So one is the Dyuloka, another is the Prithvi Loka, and in between, the space between them is the Antariksha Loka. This system applies in every solar system. In every solar system, there is a sun, there are planets, and there is a space between them, just like our Earth, the sun, and the space means magnetosphere of the earth. So this protective shield of the earth, this is Antariksha Lok. Similarly, when this whole universe, I'm not talking about one solar system, but the whole universe I am talking about, when this universe was created, what happened? This universe also has the three-tier system. In the beginning, when there was no universe, only the space of Brahma was there. Space of Brahma, and that is known in the language of Vedanta, Chidakasha. Only Chidakasha was there because the only Chaitanya, Satta or existence was there. So from that Chidakasha, the Upanishad says, Tasmad Atmanaha Akashaha Sambhutaha. From that Chidakas, that Atman, Akash of Atman, this Bhutakash was created. Acharya Shankar in his Vedanta Bhasha, he clearly talks about this Akash, what we call as Akash, as a Bhutakash. The Akash where the matter is there, where the energy particles are there, that Akash is known as Bhutakash. And in this Bhutakash, everything is being created. This material world is the creation of the Bhutakas, and Bhutakas is the creation of Chidakas. Everything exists in Chidakas, and one of the mantra, Purusha Sukta mantra of the Rig Veda, it clearly talks about that Paramavyoma. It talks about Paramavyoma, means that Chidakas itself, and it says, Pado Asya Bhavet Iha Punaha Punah. In this Bhutakas, only the 25th part, only the 25% of energy is active in Bhutakas, and rest of the energy, 75% of the energy is inactive in Chidakas. And whenever, so when there are two Akashas, so there is interface between the two Akashas. That interface is known as Yajurveda, Vayu, or Indra, and this observer space, that Bhutakash, it is known as the space of Agni. The energy in Bhutakash is known as Agni, and energy in interface, that is known as Vayu, and energy in Chidakash, that is known as Aditya. So whenever the need is, this Bhutakash receives energy for its for get going from Chidakas itself. But if we leave it behind and we come to this our solar system itself, the Surya is Aditya, the this magnetosphere of Earth, which is going to protect us from the ultraviolet rays of the sun, that is the Vayu, and Indra Loka or Antariksha Loka, and this Bhumi is Agni. So Yaska also says Agni is a Prithvi Sthaniya Devata. Agni Devata belongs to the earth, means the geothermal energy, because everywhere the energy is there, it's a play of energy. So earth, the geothermal energy is the Agni, and this mid-spatial energy, that is known as Vayu or Indra, and the solar energy, that is known as Aditya. So he says, based upon this Agni, the Rig Veda was formed. Based upon this interface, the Vayu Yajurveda was formed, and based upon the solar radiations, Shama Veda was formed. So this is known as a Traividyaha. But we know that there are 4 Sanghitas. One Sanghita, Yajurveda Sanghita, Rig Veda, Yajurveda Sanghita, Rig Veda Sanghita, Samaveda Sanghita, and Atharva Veda Sanghita. So mantras, when the Sanghitas were compiled, then the basis of compilation was different. When the basis of the nomenclature of Richas, Yajusas, and Samans was different, it was based upon Agni, Vayu, and Aditya. But when the Sanghita compilation took place, then the system of nomenclature was different. In Vedic tradition, it says Rig Archani, all Richas, which used to specify or narrate the property of some element in the universe or some devatas in the universe, those were known as richas. So here I'll explain the word dev and devata later on. Let me explain these three things. And it says yat praslishtam patitam tat yaju. The prose type of narration, it was Yajurveda. All the mantras that has prose type of narration, they were known, they were compiled in Yajurveda Sangita. All the mantras, those have the chandas, composed of chandas, they were compiled as Yajurveda. And all the mantras, those could be attuned to the vibrations or cosmic vibrations or the samaganas. Gitisu Samakhya, they were called as Samaveda. And all those mantras which belong to the living beings, they were called as Atharva Veda. So the three Vedas belong to the cosmic creation, and the Atharva Veda belongs to the living creation of living beings. They pertain to the human beings and so many other, the social system that developed due to the living beings on the earth, that is addressed by Atharva Veda. So these are the four Samhitas and three Trividya, three Vedas, one Veda. So this whole concept runs like that. Now, Veda is not one system. Veda has so many components. When we talk about a Vedic mantra or every sukta, we can say every mantra has a devata, every mantra has a chanda, and every mantra has a rishi. Three things are there associated with the mantra. So every mantra will belong to some chanda, it will belong to some rishi, and it will belong to some devata. So what is devata? What is chanda? And what is rishi? This is most important to understand the Veda. Devata means the subject matter of the mantra. Whatever mantra wants to say or want to explain, that is known as devata. And Vedic scholar Yaska, he says, Deva eva devata. If somebody asks, what is devata? He says, Deva is the devata itself. But the question is, who is Deva? What is Deva? Then Yaska explains, Devo danatava, dyotanatava, dyusthano bhavatitiva. All these heavenly bodies, which are located in celestial sphere, they are all devas. Means the devata, the subject matter of Vedas, either belong to any of these heavenly bodies, these natural forces, devo danatava, whoever contributes to the society, to the nation, to the atmosphere, to the prakriti, he is also deva. A human being can also be a deva. That is why the Upanishad says, Matri Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Pitri Devo Bhava, means mother, father, and Acharya, they are also devas because they are contributing for the development of the child. And even a commander or a emperor, ruler, or any person or a good donor, he is also deva. So Vedic tradition appreciate the donors. It talks about the duties that every human being has his duty towards the society, towards family, towards nation, and towards this whole environment. That is why in the beginning I told dharma means duties, dharma means knowledge system, moral, ethical values. So all these devas who are contributing, they are known as devas. So mantras, they will address some of the devas, and those devas are the devatas. Devata means those devas are only the subject matter of the mantras. So If we go through the 4 Samhitas, we find some 850 subject matter of the various mantras. Total devatas of the mantras are around 850, between 850 to 900. And now the second thing associated with the mantra is the Rishi. Who is the Rishi? The Yaska says Rishir Darshanata. A seer or a yogi who could visualize the true meanings of those mantras. They are the seers. You know, earlier the mantras, they were visualized by seers. Brahma, then Agni, Vayu, Aditya, Angira, they had a visualization or realization of this knowledge. Then they passed this knowledge to the further generations. And when the further generations, the future generations, they were not able to attain this knowledge through Shruti Parampara, then it was documented and those documents were handed down. But now the question is, when this whole knowledge was received by seers in Samadhi from this cosmos, then the very meaning of the mantras, what was the meaning of particular mantras? So the seers who could visualize that meaning of the mantras, they were called as seers. They were called as rishis, Rishir Darshanat. And third component of this Vedic system is the Chanda. Chanda, if we are able to understand the Chanda system, and if we know about the Chanda system, we will be able to know that these mantras were revealed to the seers on this earth itself, not on other planet or location. The meaning of Chanda, what is the Chanda? Generally in Laukik Sanskrit, some meter, the people, the scholars, they translate Chanda as the meter, that this is Gayatri meter, this is Anushtup meter, like that. But Yaska, while etymologizing the word Chanda, he says Sandhansi Vai Chadanata, because the sun is covering earth. That is why these Chandas are known. Chanda means covering. And who is covering? What? The sun is covering the earth. So there are 7 Chandas starting from Gayatri till Jagati. And why the 7 Chandas are there? Because the sun is covering earth at 7 places in the course of 1 year's revolution of the earth. Covering earth means sun rays are perpendicular on earth at 7 places in the whole 7 years, 1 year circle. How come? The first covering, that is known as Gayatri Chanda. And what is Gayatri Chanda? Because the earth is tilted on its axis at 23.5 degrees. So when earth revolves around the sun rays falls perpendicular on earth from 23.5 degrees south of equator to the 23.5 degrees north of the equator. And rest of the area of the earth, there is no perpendicular light. Sun is not perpendicular on that. Only this area from equator, 23.5 degrees north of equator and 23.5 degrees south of equator, only this area is known as a Vishnu Loka. Yajna, Yajno Vai Vishnu. Brahmankar says this area is only the place of Vishnu or the place of Yajna, where the Yajna is taking place. And this area is known as Vedi. It says Etavati Vai Prithvi Yavadi Veti, because only this area, the sun rays are falling on the earth directly. So this area is the Vedi. And why this area is the Vedi? And why this 23.5 degrees south of equator, that is known as a Gayatri Chanda. that is known as line of Capricorn, or also known as a Makara Rashi or Makara Rekha, because the sun transits in the Makara Rashi during that period, or the line of Capricorn. And this Makara Rashi, why this was called Makara Rashi? It is a very famous festival, Makara Sankranti. When sun transits the Makara Rashi, the Makara Sankranti takes place. And what is the importance of Makara Sankranti? Makara Sankranti means Uttarayana starts. The northward area of the earth, the northern part of the earth, they starts exposing towards the sun. So the Uttarayana starts. And this Uttarayana during Vedic period was the beginning of the year. If we study Vedanga Jyotish, Yajus or Arch Jyotish by Lagadha, we will find over there that the year used to start from Uttarayana, and this Gayatri Chanda is also representing that Uttarayana, and that is why the Gayatri mantra, you see, just say Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. It talks about the Savita, means the sun, because the sun rays, the earth will be exposed more to the sun. So the importance of Gayatri mantra is there. So this 23.5 degree south of equator, that is known as a Makara Rekha or line of Capricorn, it was called as Gayatri Chanda. That is why Gayatri Chanda has 24 syllables. Means 23.5 syllable is not possible. So Gayatri Chanda is composed of 24 syllables. And on the upper side, if you go to the extreme north, that is 23.5 degree north. So from 24 degrees south to the 24 degree north, how much it will be? It will be 48 degrees. And Jagati Chanda has 48 syllables, because that line of Karka, line of Cancer, that 21st June we call it, where the International Yoga Day is celebrated, that is known as Jagati Chanda. So that has 48 syllables. That is why I am saying that this Vedic literature, this was revealed to the seer on this earth itself, not on any planet, because the whole symmetry of the chandas that goes with the system of the earth. So there are 7 chandas. First one is Gayatri, then Ushnik. Ushnik is 28 syllables. Then Anushtup, that 32 chanda. Then Brihati, 36 chanda. This equator is the Brihati chanda. And the Rig Veda, one of the mantra in the Rig Veda says, Vrihatim Adyudha Suryastapati. When the sun is on Brihati chanda, on this Bhumadhya Rekha or equator, it tapati, it emits radiation, whole heat, like anything, scorching heat it emits. So Brihatim Adyudha Surya Stapati. So Brihati Chanda has the 36 syllables. Then Pankati Chanda 40, Trishtup Chanda 44 syllables, and Jagati 48 syllables. So these are 8 chandas. And these 8 chandas are the 7 chandas. They are the 7 coverings of the sun on the earth. On 21st December, the sun will be perpendicular at 23.5 degrees south. Then on 21st January, the sun will be 20 degrees south, perpendicular on earth at 20 degrees south. And on 18th February, sun will be 20 degrees south. And on 21st March, sun will be on the equator. On 21st April, it will be 12 degrees north of the equator. On 21st May, it will be 12 degrees north of the equator on 21st April, and 21st May, it will be 20 degrees north of equator. On 21st June, it will be on 23.5 degrees north. So this is the whole system, and that is why, because the sun and earth meets at 7 places in a year, in our marriage system, there is a provision of Saptapadi. Saptapadi means wife and husbands, they walk 7 steps when their marriage takes place. And Kalidasa says in Kumara Sambhava, he says, when Shiva talks with the Parvati, Shiva says, Satam Sangatam Saptapadinam Uchyate. The Shiva says, Parvati, the friendship of the good person takes place while they walk 7 steps together. So the friendship of earth and sun is taking place when they walk 7 steps together, and the same thing was introduced in our marriage system. And this, because the whole Indian tradition, the whole Indian system, Vedic philosophy, it is integrated. All the 6 Shastras, 6 Darshanas, all Brahmana Granthas, all Upanishad, they talk about only one thing. There is no controversy anywhere else. The need is to understand that string. One string goes through all the Shastras. So there is a unified law. There is a unified law and the unified field. And that unified law is the Rita, known as a Rita, and the unified field is known as a Satya. Because this Prakriti, when the unified law of Rita is applied to the Prakriti, the whole creation takes place. This Prakriti becomes this equilibrium comes in the Prakriti, and this law of Rita, unified law of Rita, is the law of motion. Because when the God thinks about creation, it agitates the Prakriti in it. And when the agitation in Prakriti takes place, that creation, it disintegrates. Its Samyavastha is disintegrated and Vikara appears. The Vishmavastha appears, and that Vikara is known as evolution. In modern scientific term, this creation is evolution, but in Vedic scientific term, this creation is Vikara. It's a devolution. It's not evolution. It's the other way round. And the Prakriti, the dissolution, is the evolution in terms of Vedic science. So there is a difference. Though Satya is a Prakriti, and the Vedic mantra is there, Ritaicha Satyaicha Vidhattapaso Dhyajayata. With the tapasa of the Brahmana, this Rita and Satya are created. What is Rita? That law of motion. He just gives motion to everything, and when that motion takes place, that Prakriti, it appears. Before that, Prakriti was there in the Garbha of the Brahman. So this whole system is one system aligned with this one particular system of knowledge. So Vedas, they have their Shiyas, the Rishis, they have their Devatas and their Chandas. Similarly, there are 7 Swaras are also there. We shall have to understand. When in the modern musical system, music learners, when they talk about Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni, all these mantras, either they were written in Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni. These are the 7 swaras, and these 7 swaras, they are borrowed from the Vedas themselves. Sa means Shadaja Swara, Re means Raivata Swara, Sa Re Ga means Gandhara Swara, Sa Re Ga Ma means Madhyama Swara, Ma Pa Panchama Swara, Dhaivata Swara, Nitrita Swara. So 7 chandas are there, 7 swaras are there, and these swaras are the swaras of the Prakriti. They are not some artificial swaras, because every day there is a different swara. At different timings, at Brahma Muhurta, the swara is different. During midday, the swara will be the different. So Prakriti has different swaras. So all these chandas, swara, devata, and rishi, they are associated with the mantra. So this entire system of knowledge, this is very much natural. It goes by the laws of the nature itself. you can understand the Chanda is also the natural system where the same cosmic system has been applied over there. So if we want to understand Vedas, when we go further than the Sanghita, we find the Brahmana Granthas over there. Every Veda has its Brahmana. Brahma Vai Brahmanam means where the elucidation of the Vedas, those texts where the Vedas have been elucidated or explained further, those are known as Brahmanas. But we know this Vedic tradition talks about the four Purushartha of the human being. We should not forget it. And those four Purushartha means objective of human life. You go anywhere in the world, no philosophy talks about the objective of the human life. This Western philosophy, this Western world, these people think the objective of the human life is to earn more and more money. I asked one student here in US when I was traveling in a bus. I asked him, what are you doing? He told, I'm just doing my 10th standard or so. Then I told, would you like to study further? Yes. He told, yes, I would like to study further. I asked him, why you want to study further? He told, if I'll study more, I'll earn more dollars. So the earning dollar is the objective of human life. But in Vedic system, it's not the human life. Human objective is different. And that objective is known as a Purushartha. That term, this Purushartha, appears just like some vague. People are not going to understand. Purush means human being, and Arth mane prayojan, the objective of the human life. What is the objective? And that objective has been told as dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. The first objective is dharma. If you are not able to attain dharma, you can't do anything. So what is that dharma? That means those instilling moral, ethical values, knowledge, and how to discriminate between good and bad, all these qualities. These attainment of all these qualities, knowledge, value system, that is known as dharma. When you become dharmika in brahmacharya, and there are 4 avasthas, there are 4 stages, because every stage is for one objective of life, just to attain one objective. In brahmacharya avastha, a student becomes accomplished in dharma. When you become accomplished in dharma, then only you can go to the grihastha life. If you have not become accomplished in dharma, then you are not meant for, the grihastha life is not meant for you, because you will not be creating human beings, but the animal beings you will be creating. You will be producing these terrorists and all these rowdy figures, and not good human beings. So dharma, artha. Based upon that dharma, you will have to earn the artha. Artha doesn't mean only this money or whatever the monetary system. Artha means whatever is required for furthering human life. All those means which are essential for a human being to live, those means are the artha. Then kama is there. All your mundane desires, mundane life desires, as well as the paramarthik kama. That is the third. And all these 2 are based upon dharma itself. If you have become dharmic, if you have attained dharma, then you will be understand everything. Nor you are not going to understand anything. And the last one is moksha. So the purpose of this creation has also been described. If we study Yoga Darshan, because we have Dr. Prabhu here, he excels in Yoga Darshan and himself a great yogi. In Yoga Darshan, Patanjali says, Tasya bhogap varagaratham. Why this Srishti has been created by Brahman? He says, bhogap varagaratham, for the bhog of the soul and for the upvarg of the soul. Because this Atman, so that it may do the bhog of Prakriti, that is why this has been created. And after that, he may attain moksha, upward. How he will do bhog, how he will enjoy the prakriti? We know there are 5 elements. Panchabhutas in the prakriti is made up of 5 elements: Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Akash. And if we want to, how we can enjoy this prakriti? Only the enjoyment can take place with the sense organs. So there are 5 sense organs in a human beings. Each sense organ will help you enjoy each of the bhuta. So this human species, the highest developed species. Had there been 6 elements in this creation, the God would have given 6 sense organs to us. So this prakriti, the prayojan, the objective is this creation, is the bhoga of the Atma, so that this Atman may do bhoga or enjoy it. And when the Atman will do the bhoga of a prakriti, will enjoy prakriti, what will it have? At last, what will happen? If you are more intellectual and you have attained dharma, then you will be able to understand, yeah, this material life is nothing. Something is beyond that. Nistraygunno bhavarjuna, the same thing will come. And then a human being, the movement of the human beings will not be the external world. They start moving inside, and that inside movement is known as tada drishtu swarupe avasthanam. That at that stage, a yogi will be able to realize his true nature. True nature. What is the true nature? A person is not a body, is not a mind or some thought process. He is the spiritual element. That thing will be understood by it. So this whole system, this Vedic system, it's going to support that system, because the very purpose of the knowledge or the Vedas is the upliftment of the human being. And this upliftment of a human being is possible only through this Vedic system. So all Brahmanas are there after Vedas. In Brahmana Granthas, after Brahmana Granthas, we get the Aranyakas. Just like Brahmanas, they will deal with all the 3 aspects of the knowledge: Adhyatmic, Adhitaivik, and Adhibhautik. Then after that, a slow progress is going on. You will we are going to move you towards the moksha. In Aranyaka, only that Vanaprastha life, a human being will live a Vanaprastha life, and he will try to dissociate himself from this Grihastha life. And Upanishad is the last of the Vedas, the last phase of the Vedas, and Upanishad will deal with entirely to the Brahman, the moksha, Jivatman. So these issues will be dealt with in Upanishad, and that is why he says Vedanta. Upanishad are known as Vedanta, and the tradition says Vedanto nam Upanishad Pramanam. What is Vedanta? Vedanta is based upon the evidence of the Upanishad. So this Sanghitas are the Granthas of Dharma, then Brahmana, Artha system, Aranyaka, whatever your Kama system, it will fulfill, and the Moksha system will be fulfilled by Upanishad. So this whole tradition is there, starting from Vedas, ending with Upanishad, and they have their help books, because no book, if it is without a help book, it can be understood. So there are 6 Vedangas. 6 Vedangas. First Vedanga Shiksha, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Kalpa, Jyotis, like Dharma Sutras, Shulva Sutras, Shauta Sutras. So the Kalpa. 6 Vedangas are there, and 6 Darshanas are there. The dual system is there. One is Yoga, another is Sankhya. The dual. Sankhya teaches us how to soul gets embodied. Then Yoga will tell you how the soul gets embodied, how the soul can come out of the body. Nyaya is the methodology, research methodology we call it. Then Vaisheshik is the physics of the universe. This metaphysics and physics of universe. Vedanta is particularly devoted to the Brahman aspect, and the Mimamsa, the karma theory is there. So this is how the whole aspects of the life, they have been introduced into this Vedic system. And I think if we are able to, if we want to understand the Sanatan Dharma, its basis is the Vedas, Vedic system of life. And during this course, as I have gone through the contents last time also, very well, so beautifully, all these aspects have been further explained. My lecture was just the introductory one, and you will find more details regarding science and dharma and so many things on Bhagavad Gita in Yoga in further lectures. So with these words, I withdraw myself, and I thank the organizers, Professor CSR Prabhu, Colonel Sahab, and all these participants who are going to attend this some great course, I think.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
so thrilled, Ravi Prakash, Arya ji. I have no words to express our happiness and excitement, and the way you have presented in a short period of time the entire knowledge system of the Vedas, Vedangas, Darshanas. It is amazing. Nobody can compare or equal to you. Hats off to you. We look forward for future interactions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Arya Saab. Thank you for giving us the beautiful introduction to the Vedas, especially the scientific angle, which this course is trying to target. What is science in Vedas? That aspect you have clearly brought out in every aspect of your talk today. And this will continue in all topics which are going to follow. And there are some students, participants who want to interact with you. We have another 5 minutes. So those people who want to interact with the speaker can raise their hand digitally, and I will unmute you so that you can ask the question. So one of the participant is asking, can you suggest any reference material which will help them to understand the topic better?
Yeah, in fact, recently I have written a book, Introduction to the Vedas. And I think that will help you a lot in understanding this entire Vedic system, how to interpret them, because there are so many schools of interpretation, Nairukta school, Itihasa school, Yajikas. So just the modern interpretations as well as ancient interpretations. So, and how you can reach, or you can ascertain that this is the correct interpretation. So on that, after this first course was conducted, then I was asked by Prabhuji to bring some material, study material for students. Then I just published one book, Introduction to the Vedas, and that is available on Amazon easily. And more, there are no such authentic books. In fact, the scholars, they have done a lot of work, but not so authentic work. Every book is more confusing, creates more confusion rather than clarity. So I think I have just given you a direction. If you will follow that direction, I think you will be able to understand the Vedic system better.
Yes, sir. Can you give the reference of the book so that people will?
That is Introduction to the Veda. Book's title is Introduction to the Veda, and if on Amazon you will write my name, Ravi Prakash Arya, or this book, it will be easily available.
Thank
Ravi
you, sir.
Prakash Arya.
Thank you, sir. So Gupta Chopuri, he would like to interact with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Namaskar. You have mentioned there are 7 sanjas, starting with Gayatri Sanja,
Yeah.
having 24 syllables, and then
Yeah.
28 syllables, 32,
Yeah.
36, 40, 44, and
Yeah.
48.
Yeah.
But when I am adding all the syllables, it is not coming to 360. I thought it will be coming to 360 degrees.
No, syllables, these are the fixed syllables. A Gayatri mantra, Gayatri Chand is written in 24 syllables itself. So the syllables cannot be 360 because as I told, had I made some picture, if the circle is there, only there are 7 steps. 24 degree south and 24 degree north. So between this 24 south and 24 north, every 4 number you will add, it will make 48. So 24 for 28 like that, and till Jagati it will become 48. So the chandas, Jagati chanda in Ved, it has 48 syllable also, and Vrihati 36 chanda. So this is the chanda actually the mantras have been written. So it's not some hypothetical concept that I am giving, because Gayatri chanda has 24 syllables, Vrihati 36, Jagati 48. So I am just trying to tell how this chanda syllable system was fixed for the chandas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Gupta ji. And now we'll have Dharmendra. Okay, let me unmute him.
Namaskaram, Guruji. In the beginning, when the Vedas are formed, it is spoken or written, sir?
No, actually, in the beginning, neither they were spoken nor written. The seers, they visualized them, just like a deaf and dumb person is there. When he sees something, he enjoys it. So that knowledge was enjoyed by them. But then they pass it on further to the seers who could not imbibe it. And it was through oral instructions. It was spoken. And after that, the written tradition started. And this has been said by the Yaska himself, the Nirukta, author of Nirukta.
If it was written, it was in Sanskrit?
Yeah, in the same language, Sanskrit itself. In the
How did it derive? Sanskrit, how does it derive from the Vedas, sir?
Yeah.
Sanskrit, how did it derive from the Vedas, Sanskrit language?
Actually, from the Vedic Sanskrit itself, this Sanskrit language came. And you know, regarding the Sanskrit, it is said, Sanskritam nam Daivi Vak Anavakhyata Maharshibhi. This language is the divine language that was further explained grammatically by the scholars. When these Vedas were revealed, because the grammar doesn't come first, the language will come first, and based upon the language of the Vedas, the grammatical system was developed, because each and every vocable of the Veda, it was grammatically defined by the seers, and the first definer, the first grammarian was the Maheshwara, Shiva. Maheshwara Sutra, they are known, and after that it was Brihaspati, and this tradition came up to Panini, and it is as Samudravata Vyakaranam Maheshware Tad Ardha Kumbhodharanam Brihaspato Bhaga Bhagat Gatam Purandare Vindut Patitam Hi Paninav. So the 4 grammarians are there in tradition. First one Maheshwara, then Brihaspati, then Indra, and after that Panini. In the Maheshwara's Vyakaran was just like the ocean, because each and every word he tried to explain. Then if you have a half of the picture from the ocean, the Vyakaran of a Brihaspati was equal to that half of the picture. And only one part of that half of the picture is the Vyakaran of Indra, and only a drop, if you take a drop of water from that pitcher, the Vyakaran of Panini is equal to that drop, because by the time of Panini, the whole system was summarized into these sutras, and maximum forms of Sanskrit, means their conjugations, their declined forms, they became out of vogue. In Vedic time, it were some billions of the words were there, but by the Panini's time, the millions of the words remain in vogue. So this is how the language also went on diminishing, and now we have very few words which are being spoken and written in Sanskrit. So the earlier Sanskrit was a very vast literature, then this literature continued to reduce. So from Vedas itself, the language came.
Okay, sir, you said mantras for gods.
The mantras
Are gods.
yeah, they are known as Brahma. Brahma means that they
So
are the knowledge of.
Vedas constitutes all mantras.
Yeah. Vedas means mantras.
So
And
Vedas are gods.
yeah, we can say, because that is the knowledge of God. We can't say God, because dharma and dharmi, there are two things. Vedas are dharma, and their dharmi means where the dharma will reside, in its dharmi, that is God. The
So
knowledge.
obviously Dharma is a god then.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, let's have BRC Murthy garu.
Okay. Is there any book available with summary of just Vedas? Because we can anyway study or learn or utter, chant or anything, but at least okay, can we have any book or all with summary of the Vedas?
I think you have already covered this.
Actually, you can study some of the literature, Vedas translation by Aurobindo. You will find something good things over there. Translation by Maharshi Dayananda Saraswati. You will find some good interpretation over there. And some more scholars, if they have tried, you can find out. But so far, I couldn't find. Means meaning is there, literal meaning has been done, grammatical meanings have been done, but the interpretation, the real thing is the interpretation. The word is Agni. If you call Agni as Agni, then it's not an interpretation. Or if you will call Agni as the fire, so that is also a wrong interpretation. So the Agni, what is the intended sense? If we want to see that, so then translation of Aurobindo will help you to some extent, Kapali Shastri and Swami Dayananda Saraswati. But that is also in Hindi and quite confusing. Swami Dayananda's translation is also quite confusing. If you know Sanskrit better, then its Sanskrit part, it can make some sense.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think now we are running out of time. I request, Prabhu Garu to say a few words. After that, we will have Prarthana and Jana.
Yes, Ravi Prakash Arya ji is the most well-known and erudite scholar in the Vedic science literature today. Please mute your mics. Hello, mute your mic. Yeah, so Ravi Prakash Arya ji has been working on the research of understanding the Veda from the scientific perspective, and he has been very kind enough to deliver this lecture to us to give a glimpse into the scientific perspective of the Vedas. As I was telling you yesterday, the word Veda itself means knowledge and science. And the so-called modern science originated only recently, about 150 years ago. Before that, there was no Western science. It was only Vedic science. And there was a consistency between the science of the Vedas and the later scientific texts in Sanskrit, like Vaiseshika Darshana, or even the mathematicians and astronomers like Bhaskara, Varan. They were all consistent with the Vedic knowledge system. it is not inconsistent, as the Puranas are also consistent with the Vedic knowledge system. So it is only the Western science, which originated around 150 years ago, which also copied some of the ideas, the basic root ideas from the ancient Sanskrit knowledge. They came out with a false theory of science based on the monotheism of Christianity, saying that nature is different from God, and God is somewhere in the seventh heaven as something like a human being with a big beard and a chair. And the nature has to be exploited and maximum squeezed out for the benefit of man and enjoyment of man. So this kind of fake philosophy given by a person called Bacon, the philosophy of science, has resulted in an environmental catastrophe today. Today, we are not in a position to know how many years we will be able to survive. Some people say 25 years, some people say 50 years. After that, the earth will be destroyed completely. So we better migrate to Mars. This is the kind of thinking which is coming out. In fact, Elon Musk has prepared extensive plans and even methodologies to migrate to Mars. So repeated flights to Mars. So that means the earth has been destroyed to such an extent by the environmental destruction that took place based on modern science and technology within 150, 200 years. Whereas the human beings have existed at least for 100,000 years or more. And no such catastrophe of environment has occurred in all these thousands of years and thousands of years. So only in the recent past, this kind of environmental catastrophe has occurred because the nature was not recognized as part of human's life, and nature and human are interrelated to each other. They are symbiotically existing. Sahayajna prajasashva purvavacha prajapati anena prasvidvameshavostishtaka madhu devan bhavayataneva te deva bhavayantah parasparam bhavayanta shreya paramamapsnata. The third chapter in Bhagavad Gita clearly said, when creation took place, both the devas and humans are created, and they are asked to have an interdependent relationship, symbiotic relationship. And that has not happened in the last 150 years. Humans have kept on exhausting nature and squeezing out and destroying nature. So today we have an environmental collapse kind of a situation. So this is the time, high time, more than high time, that we look back into our ancient Vedic knowledge, how it has resulted in a successful civilizational development for 100,000 years or more. Yesterday I was telling you the Saraswati River, Kurukshetra, the area of Haryana where Ravi Prakash Arya lives, and all that, how that continued the civilization unbroken till today. And so this knowledge is more profound and more useful and more green and more environment friendly and essential for protection of the environment. So Vedic knowledge, Vedic science is more preferable to the modern science and modern technology in the context of the environmental conservation. So with these few remarks, I will close. Once again, I have no words to express my deep gratitude to my best friend, Dr. Ravi Prakash Arya. I know him for the last 25 years, and we have been doing a lot of joint activities, and we look forward to do more such activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Arya ji. We are very fortunate to have you with us for this, introduction of Vedas. And also we thank, Prabhuji for, introducing you to all of us. And we look forward to have more interaction with you. And with this, we will close this with a prarthana. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Guru Devo Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So now we'll have Janagana Mana by Challa Chittibabu Garu. Chittibabu Garu, are you there?
Some noise behind.
Okay, let us all of us stand and put your mics on mute. Then we will sing.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हे जय
Thank you. Thank you, Chittibabu garu.
Thank you.
I think with this, we will close the session.
Before we close, we have to tell all the participants that they are not putting their PIN numbers properly. Otherwise, it's very difficult for us to monitor the attendance.
Yeah.
So everyone, please note, in case everything is being explained to you, it's only you have to implement.
Those who did not put the display, stay back, remaining can leave.
Right.
Thank you, Arya ji. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Those who have not put the numbers, try it out now.
Yeah, we can call one by one.
I'll unmute all of you. Hello.
Colonel ji, I'm extremely sorry. Today suddenly hang అయిపోయింది.
It's okay, it happens.
నాకు నిజంగా ఫస్ట్ టైం అట్లా అయింది. నాకు ఎప్పుడే కానీ అట్లా కాలేదు. కర్నల్ జీ నాకైతే ఏమంటే అట్లా ఇదైపోయింది.
No problem. We are one team. If one is
yeah. I was really, I was shocked. Suddenly hang అయిపోయి ఇదైపోయింది, స్టాప్ అయిపోయింది. Then I don't know, but Colonel ji was
Okay,
there. I know.
let us finish this PIN business. Padmaja,
5-6 people. I have done. What I did was I put their attendance. I know their numbers.
No. What we do is call one by one and ask them to understand why they are not able to do. Seshagiri Rao garu.
Next.
He is there. I think he is not left.
Tell me, sir.
Do you know your PIN number?
Yes, sir. I already put it 229.
But it is not coming.
I already put yesterday itself, sir. 229. I'll do it again, sir.
Right. Please do it.
Kindly, sir.
Venkataya. K. Venkataya.
K. Venkataya.
Venkataya garu. ఉన్నారు కదా వెంకటయ్య గారు.
All who did not display their PIN numbers, unmute yourself.
నమస్తే అండి, నా పేరు వనశ్రీ అండి. నాది 246 పిన్ నెంబర్. నేను ఆల్రెడీ చేశానండి, బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ రిఫ్లెక్టింగ్ ఎనీవేర్. సో ఇట్స్ 246 is my పిన్ నెంబర్. ఐఎమ్ రాజులపూడి, వనశ్రీ రాజులపూడి.
ఎక్కడది? వేర్ ఇస్ ఇట్?
ఉందండి, సీరియల్ నెంబర్ 38.
ఎక్కడ?
డిస్ప్లే నేమ్ సారీ ఫర్ ద డిస్ప్లే నేమ్ చేంజ్ చేసేటప్పుడు 2 థింగ్స్ ఉన్నాయి సార్. ఫస్ట్ ఒకటి ఉంటుంది, తర్వాత డిస్ప్లే నేమ్ అని ఉంటుంది సెకండ్ లైన్ లో ఇన్ జూమ్ సెట్టింగ్స్. అక్కడ చేంజ్ చేయట్లేదండి, ఓన్లీ నేమ్ దగ్గర చేంజ్ చేస్తున్నారు కాబట్టి రావట్లేదు. డిస్ప్లే నేమ్ యాజ్ అని వస్తుంది కదా, అక్కడ మీ యొక్క నెంబర్ ని ఫ్రంట్ లో పెట్టాలమ్మా. అందరు ఏం చేస్తున్నారంటే మెయిన్ నేమ్ ని చేంజ్ చేస్తున్నారు, దట్ ఈస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ రిఫ్లెక్టింగ్ ఆన్ ది మెయిన్ డిస్ప్లే నేమ్. సారీ ఫర్ ద ఇంటరప్ట్.
నేను అలాగే చేశాను సార్, కరెక్ట్ చేసుకుంటాను. థ్యాంక్ యూ
సార్. నమస్కారం సార్, అరుణ కుమారి 290 సార్. వచ్చిందా సార్ అందులో?
రాలేదు కదా.
నిన్న చేశాను సార్.
అవును.
అదే
నిన్న
display name లో
కనపడింది, ఈ రోజు
చేయట్లేదా?
లేదు.
డిస్ప్లే నేమ్ లో
You have to
చేయాలి.
do it every day, madam.
కాదండి, అది as somebody was suggesting in the display wherever it is
ఇప్పుడు
there.
ఓటండి వీళ్ళది జూమ్ సెట్టింగ్స్ లో బేసిక్ ప్రొఫైల్ అని ఒకటి ఉంటుంది. ఆ ప్రొఫైల్ దగ్గరికి పోయి సెట్టింగ్స్ లో డిస్ప్లే నేమ్ అనే దగ్గర చేంజ్ చేసేస్తే పర్మనెంట్ గా వస్తుంది, ఎవ్రీ డే వస్తుంది. ఇందాక చెప్పినట్లుగా డిస్ప్లే నేమ్ లో చేయాలి.
If they are not being able to do there, at least teach them now how to do it here.
Yeah.
అచ్చా, డైలీ చాట్ దాంట్లో చేంజ్ చేస్తే సరిపోతుందా సార్?
డైలీ అవసరం లేదండి. డైలీ చాట్ లో కాదు, డైలీ మీరు
Chat లో కాదు.
ఒక్కసారిగా జూమ్ సెట్టింగ్స్ కి వెళ్ళిపోయి అక్కడ మీది బేసిక్ అనే ఒకటి ఉంటుంది. మీరు జూమ్ సెట్టింగ్స్ ఓపెన్ చేసుకుంటే దానిలో మీకు బేసిక్ ఇది ఉంటదండి. అక్కడ సెట్టింగ్స్ లో మీరు అక్కడ సెట్టింగ్స్ లో చేంజ్ చేసేసారనుకో డిస్ప్లే నేమ్ అని ఒకటి ఉంటది. ఆ డిస్ప్లే నేమ్ లో మీరు పిఆర్ఎన్ నంబర్ వేసి మీ పేరు వేసేసారంటే ఎప్పటికీ అదే ఓపెన్ అవుతుంది. మీరు మళ్ళీ అక్కడ వేయాల్సిన పని లేదండి.
సరే మేడం, నేను ఈ రోజు మధ్యాహ్నం ట్రై చేసి చేసేస్తాను.
ప్రభాకర్ శాస్త్రి గారికి పిన్ నంబర్ తెలియదుట.
ఆయనది లేదు. నేను వెతికి సైలెంట్.
పేరేంటి?
ప్రభాకర్ శాస్త్రి, సొంటి ప్రభాకర్ శాస్త్రి
సొంటి
గారు.
ప్రభాకర్ శాస్త్రికి ఉంది.
ఒకసారి ఆయన చెప్తే ఐ థింక్ హిల్
291 VSK సౌజన్య టీ.
మీది
అవునండి, అది
మార్చారు కదా.
మీరు వేసుకోవాలి, మార్చుకోవాలి అంతే.
కాదు, మార్చినట్టున్నారు కదా మీరు సౌజన్య గారు.
మార్చాను సార్, అదే డిస్ప్లే అవుతుందా లేదా అని 291.
డిస్ప్లే కావట్లేదండి, మీ
అదే
పేరు
డిస్ప్లే రావట్లేదు.
నేను ఇప్పుడు అటెండెన్స్ వేసుకున్నా కదా, ఆ డిస్ప్లే కావట్లేదు, మీదంతా కావట్లేదు.
ఇందాక 291 చూశాను, మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు మారిపోయింది, రాలేదు మళ్ళీ.
ఇప్పుడు కనపడతా ఉందండి. ఇప్పుడు
జాయిన్ అయినప్పటి నుంచి అదే పెట్టారండి.
లేలే, అప్పుడే మార్నింగ్ లేదు, నేను అటెండెన్స్ వేసుకున్నప్పుడు లేదు, ఇప్పుడు ఉంది 291 అని మీరు కరెక్ట్ గా ఉంది.
ఓకే ఓకే.
ప్రొఫెసర్ జయరామ రెడ్డి గారిది కూడా లేదు, ఆయన కూడా.
I don't know exactly how to do. I will try to do tomorrow or so.
Yeah, but now I have put the attendance.
Sir, 256 Padmaja display అవుతుంది.
Yeah, mine is 216 Jayram Reddy.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you madam.
256 పద్మజ త్యాగరాజన్ ఉంది.
అండి.
ఓకే,
అది నిన్న CFDF అనేది వచ్చింది అన్నారు.
ఇప్పుడు వచ్చింది,
కరెక్ట్ గా వచ్చింది.
అరుణ కుమారి గారు. సో yeah, you can do it. Then who else?
ప్రభాకర్ శాస్త్రి గారి పేరు లేదు, ఆయన పేరు ఎక్కడో ఇప్పుడు చెప్పాలి. రంగనాథ్ మిద్దెల అనే ఆయన ఇప్పుడు వచ్చే కనపడతా ఉంది. ఆయనది కూడా నంబరు
రంగనాథ్ మిద్దెల. ఓకే, దాని తర్వాత ఇది ఒప్పో ఏ అని ఉంది. ఒప్పో
సార్, నేనే శేషగిరావు ట్రై చేస్తున్నాను సార్, అందువల్ల ఇంకో సిస్టమ్ లో నుంచి వచ్చాను.
ఓకే.
ఐఎమ్ ట్రైయింగ్ టు పుట్ ద నంబర్ విత్ డిఫరెంట్ మొబైల్ సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
ఓకే, వరప్రసాద్ సుప్పెళ్ళ గారు. మీరు ఉన్నారు కదా, అంటే స్విచ్ ఆన్ యువర్ మైక్ అండ్ టాక్. వరప్రసాద్ సుప్పెళ్ళ గారు.
Prabhakar Shastri garu, are you admitted in the course?
Yes sir, I was told by Hanumantrao sir.
Hanumantrao. No.
ఆయన పేరు లేదు, రెండిట్లో లేదు. నేను కూడా సెర్చ్ చేశాను.
You contact me separately, sir.
Okay. How to consult you, sir? Shall I put message in the cell?
Yeah. If you know the number in the group, you can put it in the group.
98499 34000.
98466
98499
98499
34000.
34666. Okay, sir.
So now I think only 4 people are there who have not put their pin. Sunta Prabhakar
are they?
Shastri garu, then Ranganath Meddala, then Shashgir Rao and try చేస్తున్నారు. So Professor Jairam Reddy garu.
Yeah. Sir.
Okay, no problem.
Exactly how.
But tomorrow we'll do it.
Yeah, hope you know the number. The first is you should know
291. I was told 291.
291. I mean, if it is told, it is. Yeah.
291 కాదు సార్, సౌజన్య గారిది 291. మీది 291 కాదు. మళ్ళీ
అసలు నాకు ఎస్ఐనే చేయలేదు అనుకుంటా.
ఒక్క నిమిషం సార్, మీ కరెక్ట్ పేరు చెప్పండి. ఉంది జయరామ్,
ప్రొఫెసర్ జయరామ్ రెడ్డి.
Yeah, mine is 216, sir. Number I know, but I don't know how to incorporate it into my name.
216 అండి. జయరామ్ రెడ్డి టమాటా కదా, టమాటం.
Yes.
ఉందిలే, 216 ఉంది, 291 కాదు. ఇప్పుడు 291 అనిందాను.
ఇప్పుడు చూడండి, 216 వచ్చిందా?
ఉందిలేండి, ఆయన పేరు ఉంది. 216 ఉందండి, కరెక్ట్.
ఇప్పుడు నేనే చేంజ్ చేశాను. ఓకే, సో
ఓకే సార్,
హోప్ ఇట్ విల్ బి దేర్. అదర్వైజ్ ఎవరికైతే మీరు కుదరట్లేదో, కైండ్లీ టుమారో వెన్ యు లాగిన్, మీరు మీ పేరు అగేన్స్ట్ గా మీ నంబర్ కనబడకపోతే అదే లైన్ లో చివరికి వెళ్ళి చూస్తే మైక్ వీడియో కనబడతాయి. ఆ చివరిలో 3 చుక్కలు కనబడతాయి.
అవును, మోర్ అని ఉంటుంది.
మోర్ దాంట్లో చూస్తే యు జస్ట్ క్లిక్ దట్, కిందన రీనేమ్ అని వస్తుంది.
ఓకే ఓకే.
ఆ రీనేమ్ లో మీరు చేస్తే యూ విల్ గెట్ ద డైలాగ్ బాక్స్. అండ్ దెన్ అక్కడ మీరేమో మీ పిన్ నంబర్ ముందర పెట్టి దాని తర్వాత మీ పేరు పెడితే
ఇప్పుడే చేయమనండి.
చేసేసాను నేను.
థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ సార్. ఓకే
సార్, నా నెంబర్ ఎంత అండి?
ఎవరిది?
ప్రభాకర శాస్త్రి.
సొంటి ప్రభాకర్ శాస్త్రి గారు.
అదే చూస్తా.
ఆయన కలవాలి.
ఆయనది ఇంకా రాలేదు.
వరప్రసాద్ చొప్పెళ్ళ గారు ఆయనది చెప్పలేదు. యాక్చువల్ గా ఆయన నంబరు నాకు ఇక్కడ ఆ పేరు కనపడట్లేదు. ఏవి వరప్రసాద్ ఆయనే కదా అని.
లేదండి, సి కావాలిగా, చొప్పెళ్ళ.
అవును, అదే అందుకనే నాకు ఏవి వరప్రసాద్ ఉన్నారు, ఇది కనపడట్లేదు. అందుకని ఆయన నంబర్ ఏం అడుగుదాం అనుకుంటుంది, వెళ్ళిపోయినారు.
ఆయన వెళ్ళిపోయారు. ఎందుకంటే టైం కూడా అయిపోతుంది, అందరూ ఉద్యోగాలకు కూడా వెళ్ళాలి కదా.
అవునవును.
వరప్రసాద్ చొప్పెళ్ళ గారు స్టిల్ దేర్. వరప్రసాద్ గారు
నంబర్ చెప్తే ఆయనకి ఇక్కడ ఆయన పేరు కనపడట్లేదు.
కింద పార్టిసిపెంట్ లిస్ట్ లో ఉందండి. ఇంకా ఇప్పుడు చూస్తున్నాను, ఐఎమ్ సీయింగ్ లాస్ట్ లో ఉంది.
242
నా?
ఓకే,
ఒక్క నిమిషం. 242 ఏవి వరప్రసాద్, అదే ఇందాక చెప్పాను కాదండి. ఇది చొప్పెళ్ళ అంటున్నారు కదా, అందుకు డౌట్. వరప్రసాద్ చొప్పెళ్ళ అనే పేరు కనపడట్లేదు.
చొప్పెళ్ళ వరప్రసాద్ 225.
225 ఓ కరెక్ట్ ఉంది, కరెక్ట్.
225. సరే, ఇప్పుడు నేను చేంజ్ చేశాను. ఓకే, దాని తర్వాత రంగనాథ మిడ్డల
ఉంది. ఈయనండి మన కూత్తడి వెంకటయ్య, కె వెంకటయ్య ఉంది చూడండి, 235. అది 235. తర్వాత రంగనాథ్ ఇప్పుడే ఒక్క నిమిషం. 288 రంగనాథ్ మిద్దల.
288.
అవును.
Let us see in case
నమస్తే సార్.
288 అనే.
అవునండి, అవునండి. నేను ఇప్పుడు చూసి చెప్తున్నా. ఇంకా అందరిది పేర్లు ఇక్కడ వేసినామమ్మా. 288 వేసేసారు.
నేను ఇప్పుడే వేసాను.
అయింది అయింది.
మీకు అంతే అటెండెన్స్ కి రైట్. 290 ఎవరు మాట్లాడుతున్నారండి?
అరుణ కుమారి వచ్చిందా?
వచ్చిందండి, వచ్చిందండి.
చేశాను.
రైట్,
వచ్చేసిందండి.
ఓకే, ధన్యవాదాలు.
అందరిది వచ్చేసిందండి ఈ రోజు.
అందరికీ వచ్చింది. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. అందరూ గుర్తు పెట్టుకోండి, ఒకవేళ పొరపాటున మీకు ఇబ్బంది కలిగితే పొద్దున్న జాయిన్ అయినప్పుడు మీ పేరు అగేన్స్ట్ గా చివర్లోకి వెళ్ళిపోతే 3 చుక్కలు కనబడతాయి. దాన్ని నొక్కితే రీనేమ్ అని వస్తుంది, అక్కడ చేసేయండి.
ఓకే, నమస్తే. నమస్తే మహోదయ.
నమస్కారం అండి.
ధన్యవాదాలు మహోదయ.
నమస్కారం, ధన్యవాదాలు.
ఓకే,
Close.
కల్నల్ గారు, now you can close.
ఓకే, ఓకే సార్.
ప్రభాకర్ శాస్త్రి గారు నమస్తే.
ఆయన ప్రభాకర్ శాస్త్రి గారికి మాత్రం నంబర్ ఇచ్చేసేయండి మహోదయ. మళ్ళీ